So today's Mother's Day, and the theme for me is spiritual laws and how to use them. And I had originally planned the talk title, The Sequence of the Creative Order. And then I saw that it was Mother's Day, so I threw that out the window. But I will say this about that. Every thought we think and every word we speak is creating our future. So be careful what you say. It's through our thoughts that go out into the universe and are accepted and are brought back to us as experience. And that's from Louise Hay on how thoughts create reality. So our thoughts and words create our reality, just like Chip was singing in the song. It's not always what we say, but it's the feeling nature behind what our prominent attitude is that brings to us. And we can tell how we're doing in our life. Just look at your life. You can tell. You know, you can't fake integrity. You can, but it's not for long. So our thoughts and words do create our reality. And now I want to talk about the divine feminine that we're really talking about today on Mother's Day. God couldn't be everywhere, so he created mothers. That's a Jewish proverb. While we know that in truth God is indeed everywhere because God is omnipresent, I've always appreciated the folk wisdom and the metaphor as quoted here because it depicts the ineffable character of the divine feminine, which is omnipresence, nurturing and sustaining all living things while excluding none. Dr. Ernest Holmes refers to the divine feminine as the universal womb of nature because as an omnipresent principle operating through all living things, it knows how to unconditionally nurture and grow to fruition whatever falls into its embrace. In other words, God, as the divine feminine, is what I call unconditional love. Unconditional love. The universe loves us so much that it gave us the opportunity to have this thing called life that you got to choose. Yeah, you chose this. You chose. And here we are, living this life of expression. Now, you may not think that you chose this, but you did. Most all of us have heard and agree with the statement that unconditional love is the most powerful force in the universe because it aligns us directly with the highest vibration of infinity. We are divinely connected as infinity in expression. Then it would seem logical to say that women are inherently more powerful than men. Why? Because as a rule of thumb, women are far more likely to be in touch with their divine feminine, which is where unconditional love exists as a universal principle. Now note, I did not say that women are stronger, although some of them can be, more intelligent or important, though they can be. I said women are simply more powerful. Why? I believe that it's because women have a much easier time accessing their feeling nature, which is where authentic love resides. While this may well fly in the face of many of my brothers out there, it is nonetheless seems to be true overall. The good news is that the divine feminine, being omnipresent principle, means we men have equal access to it. The problem is that we have not been as willing to go there because it's generally buried and a bit deeper in men than may require some revealing and balancing of our internal energy systems, and that we can be flat out uncomfortable for the average male to go there. It's just simple male-female dynamics. I think most men believe that to access the divine feminine within means becoming more vulnerable, and for many, I suppose it could be. But irrespective of the discomfort, it's only in the light of that vulnerability that authentic love fully reveals itself. So, gentlemen, we have to be okay with being a little uncomfortable. And I think most of the men in this room wouldn't be here if they weren't okay with being a little uncomfortable, right? What I've discovered for myself is that the more willing I am to embrace the divine feminine within myself, balancing it with my masculine energy, the more likely I am to live open in a day-to-day consciousness of unconditional love. When I can be okay with being uncomfortable and actually inviting it, I open up to that side of me that loves the beauty of the rose or the beauty of a sunset or a sunrise. For me, beyond the obvious, this is the metaphysical meaning and the purpose of Mother's Day. Yes, first and foremost, Mother's Day can be an opportunity to celebrate our earthly mothers. Thanks, Mom. Thanking and honoring them for the amazing job they did to bring us into the physical world using the very principle of the divine feminine to birth us, unconditionally loving us and nurturing us for so many years, and then selflessly launching us out into this spiritual journey of the human experience. Ta-da! Here we all are. And even if you didn't have a mom, you had somebody that played that role. If you only had a dad, your dad had to play the mom role. And they say if you didn't have a mother or a father, you didn't need that. You had other energy that moved forward to get you to where you are. Perhaps equally important as Mother's Day can be a chance for us to consciously reconnect with the principle of the divine feminine within ourselves. We mother ourselves because after we've grown up, we still need to be loved by the universe. Which is where the true power of unconditional love resides, waiting and embracing and nurturing us. Celebrate the divine feminine this Mother's Day and notice how loved you really are. Do you feel loved? I mean, do you really feel loved? And if you don't, and there's times when I don't, I have to love myself more. It's not out there. It's always an inside job, because there's really no out there, as we've learned in quantum physics. This is all an appearance. It's all an appearance. Right. So how strong is the power of love? It is the glue that keeps the universe together. A mother's love is the love that Spirit has for each of us, but even stronger. What miracles have you seen happen between a mother and a child, between Spirit and its creation? The mama bear type love. And here's a short example. A woman named Angela Cavallo, and she still lives in Lawrence, Georgia, where this incident happened on April 9th, 1982. I'm cutting out here. Her teenage son, Tony, had a 1964 Chevy Impala jacked up on in the driveway. You see where this is going, right? He removed the rear tire and was working on the suspension. A neighbor kid came by and went to the door to tell Angela that there'd been an accident. She rushed out to find Tony pinned under the car. Something had been stuck, and in trying to loosen it, he'd rocked the car off the jack, and it fell on him. And now he was caught in one of the rear wheel wells, and all she could see of him was from the waist down, sticking out from under the car. You know, ancient Chevys have big old cars with lots of room around the wheels. And Tony wasn't immediately crushed, but he was out cold. Hollering to the neighbor kid to go get help, Angela grabbed the side of the car with both hands and pulled up with all her strength. The AP account said she raised the car about 4 inches. She doubts it was that much, but she believes it was enough to take the pressure off. She recalls nothing about the rescue, but the AP said that 2 neighbors rushed in and inserted a jack and dragged Tony out. Tony recovered okay. Angela, then in her late 50s, guesses she kept the car propped up for about 5 minutes. She describes herself as 5'8", large-framed and strong, but figures she couldn't have picked the car up under normal circumstances, attributing her feat to adrenaline. Thanks to journalist Maria Mina for providing the AP story. Now, some may quibble that lifting a car a couple inches is hardly the same as picking up a car. A doctor friend said the adrenaline rush wouldn't really last for 5 minutes, and she suggested that what we're seeing here was much more than superhuman strength as an endurance in the face of otherwise overwhelming pain. Maybe, and my point is, car lifting stories have a basis in fact. You know, we hear about that. But if you were in the same situation, you would do whatever it takes to help someone. And we do this quite often. We don't even know we're doing it when we step in or we see something that we need to do and move a mountain. Maybe it's a financial mountain that needs moving or something like that, but we do that. There is within most mothers unconditional, almost desperate love for their child that begins often before birth and never ends. This love is universal and transcends borders, cultures, and continents. Like a fierce mama bear protecting her cubs, many mothers are willing to risk personal suffering, injury, and loss to keep their children safe. If spiritual love is that same way, what does Spirit do to keep us safe? There's a lot of things that we don't even know happens in the universe that rearrange themselves so that we can remain safe. I mean, just having a life in this plane of existence is truly a miracle. Everything that needs to happen for our human bodies to be healthy as long as we live, it's truly a miracle that there's something within our bodies that sends the right molecules and cells to the right places for that healing to happen. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my mom, my mother's story. She passed about 9 years ago, and she was not your average mom. I'm sure we could say that about all our moms, right? But you may have seen mom if you ever went to Disneyland and saw the old GE Carousel of Progress. Remember that old ride where you'd sit and the audience would move around the stage and you'd see the old GE products? Had those animatronic people that would, "It's a great big beautiful tomorrow." That was my mom. She modeled for all of the women and did the voice of all the women on that ride. And that was her claim to fame. She was also the voice of Drizella in Cinderella, the wicked stepsister. Sing, sweet nightingale. So that was, you've probably heard my mom. And I thought that everybody's mom was on TV. I thought that was normal. So I grew up with a whole different idea of my mom. But I was very blessed to have a very loving mom. I was the youngest of 4 children, and she used to take me on auditions when she'd go audition for different parts, and I got to see the studios and the backstage of everywhere. It was real fun. But I'd like to close with a poem for Mother's Day, and it goes like this. My mom is my shepherd. I shall not want. She makes me lie down under cool, downy comforters. She watches me play beside still water, and she restores my soul. She leads me in paths of respect, responsibility, and generosity, for I am her namesake. Yea, though I walk past the monsters in the dark, I will not be scared, because my mom is always with me. Her hand and her voice, they comfort me. Mama sets the table and cheerfully calls me to dinner, even in front of big mean bullies. She anoints my skinned knees and broken heart with kisses. She smiles and throws me a towel when my cup runneth over. Surely God's peace, power, and mercy shall uphold me all the days of my life, for my mother taught me to dwell in the house of the Lord. In conclusion, we have the potential to express unconditional love, each one of us. It is only activated when we play the part. We have to be unconditionally loving for unconditional love to manifest through us. So embrace your divine feminine. And remember, your mother is always with you. And so it is. Let's follow our teaching and go into prayer now. So just closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or taking a soft focus on the beautiful flowers or the candle. Let's remember who we are. So knowing that divine harmony and wisdom of the universe is always on. That divine feminine and masculine quality is what the divine is. And each one of us is an outpicturing and divine expression of the spiritual wisdom of the universe and its ability to manifest in this world of form. I may not know what your situation is, but I know that God knows. And as we speak spiritual energy into each situation, I know Spirit is active in our lives in a way that makes sense, is identifiable, and allows that wisdom of creation to come forward in every situation. I speak a word of blessing upon anyone anywhere who has ever asked for prayer, be it spoken or written or typed, or perhaps in the subconscious regions of our mind where we just said, please God, help me with this. I know that wonderful spirit of all that is now active, doing exactly what is needed in every situation for the divine outcome to happen. For the healing of our bodies, sending all the right cells to all the right places. For the healing in the bodies of our affairs, making divine connections with the people who need to be there of assistance are now there. That whatever the situation, being financial or relationship or creative self-expression or health, whatever it is, as we see it as healed, as we see it as moving towards the light, we know love and wisdom and the divine feminine are the healing qualities of the universe this day. Because we know as our mothers kissed our owies, that they healed our hearts and allowed us to go back out and play. So I give great thanks for that healing today, for the healing nature of the infinite and its ability to reveal and heal. We claim that right here and right now as we release this word directly into the law of mind, knowing it is so, as we affirm together by saying, and so it is. Amen.